I'd like to call our meeting to order. Today's date is September 13th, 2016. Board of Selectmen meeting for 7 p.m. I want to thank everybody for watching out there. And why don't we stand and rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, guys. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in, and I think we should have a fairly quick meeting tonight. We'll see. The reviewing of the articles will probably take up most of our time. But the selectmen have their new iPads, and I'm able to read from it. So why don't I move to the public announcements? And is that a separate document, or is it, no, it's, Mary keeps it in the same
No, it's the
document?
end of the agenda.
I'm actually going to try to read directly from my
The
iPad.
agenda's first, and then I have another document for but the announcements are all part of it, but.
Okay. Okay, why is it, how, Donnie, okay, how do I expand it to here?
Just
I tapped it twice. There it is. Okay. I'm trying to use just this, but unfortunately, we're jumping to, yeah, but why isn't it? All right, okay. Okay, there are vacancies on the Cultural Council, Council for Elder Affair Alternate, Energy Committee, Recreation and Historical Commission. Applications for appointment are available online at www.hanson-ma.gov or in the Selectman's office. Town clerk would like to remind dog owners that all dogs over 6 months must be licensed by September 30th. The Hanson Business Network will meet on Wednesday, September 14th from 6:30 to 8:30 p.m. for a small business administration presentation geared toward current and prospective business owners regarding the essentials of becoming credit ready. This event will be held in the Board of Selectmen's meeting room located on the first floor of the Hanson Town Hall, located at 542 Liberty Street, Hanson, Mass. A small business administration representative, will be conducting the presentation and will field questions from attendees. This event is free and is open to all who wish to attend. RSVPs are appreciated so that we can be certain we have adequate materials, seating, and refreshments. That's pretty good, right? Please RSVP to Laura Fitzgerald Kemet at lfitzkemet@gmail.com.
Naturally.
And thank you, Flora, for doing that. That's a big deal. On September 22nd, Meadowbrook Restaurant will be donating 20% of all proceeds to the Hanson Food Pantry for those customers who present the Hanson Food Pantry coupon. Coupons can be found on the Hanson Food Pantry website at http://www.hansonfoodpantry.org/ and on Facebook at Hanson Food Pantry 2015. Please join us and help us spread the word. The Water Department also reminds residents that there's a total water ban in effect. Outside watering is prohibited. Upcoming meetings. We've got the final Plymouth County Hospital reuse on Wednesday, September 14th, 4 p.m. at the police station. The Historical Commission is meeting Wednesday, September 14th at 7 p.m. Where do they meet, Bruce? Do you know?
What's that?
The Historical Commission?
I don't know.
They didn't say. Okay. We'll find out. If you have any questions on that, please call in. Or I think you can check the website, right, Mary?
It's a commission, right? I'm not on the commission anymore.
I'm not sure where they meet. They didn't say. The Selectmen meet at Board of for Tuesday, September 20th at 1 p.m. Meeting House Lane. That's the caning event, right, Mike?
Mm-hmm.
And then Selectmen again on Tuesday, September 27th at 7 p.m.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
I'd like to state that the priority, Mary wouldn't have this yet, though, I just did it this afternoon. Priority Repair Committee
Mm-hmm.
will be meeting on Thursday at 7 p.m. in the Selectman's
Yeah,
office.
it's on the announcements.
Oh, it is?
Yeah. No, I may have put it on after I had updated.
Oh, it's on the, okay, I get
Oh,
you.
okay, I didn't.
What time, Bruce? Thursday when?
Thursday at 7.
7 p.m. That's this Thursday, right? All right, great. Any questions from anybody? All right, we're moving right along here. Next on our agenda is the town administrator's report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to defer to new business and just jump ahead because we do have Alan Hanscom from Beta, our town engineer here. And I asked him to attend this meeting to help with the discussion concerning placing the Plymouth County Hospital demolition on the capital improvements matrix. As the board is aware, we've had these discussions, I think, over the last couple of meetings, that we have engaged our engineering firm through Alan to come up prior to town meeting with a rather firm number that we will ask town meeting to approve to effectuate the remediation of the hazmats and the removal of the building. That being said, Alan and I have had some discussions on what number at least the board can place on the matrix this evening with a more solid figure to come, a few days or so before the town meeting. And so what we would more than likely do is have a meeting before town meeting to just hone that number down. Again, that being said, I believe the figure that we would be comfortable with going forward with at this point is $1.8 million. It may not be that number going forward. With any luck, it will be reduced. But for the sake of being conservative and making sure that we feel that we have at least enough going forward, and perhaps too much going forward, hopefully it is too much and we can change it, our suggestion would be the 1.8 at this point. And I would ask Alan if he would just give us a little background on what we are going to be doing over the course of the next couple of weeks to get that number closer to a figure that we can produce, we can present to town meeting.
Okay, just a quick background. The original hazardous materials survey was done in 1999 at the hospital. That was shortly after the town took ownership of the property. I think we purchased it for $950,000 or something along that line. The same firm that did that has been requested to do an update to their survey and expand the survey to include things like PCBs and caulking, which is a fairly significant item that has come up in recent demolition projects over the last 5 years or so. So we want to expand the survey to include that. There were also limitations placed on the original surveys. Some of the roofs were not destroyed. We did not do a lot of intrusive work. We didn't dig around excavations to see if the foundation mastics included asbestos. So we're planning to plug those gaps. Scheduled tentatively for next Thursday and Friday, we would do the additional sampling and then get the results back within about a 5-day period so that we would be able to put together a cost summary. We would involve some of the contractors that we routinely work with. I do demolition projects routinely and have for the last 15, 16, 20 years of my career. So we do this rather routinely. So we'll put together a cost estimate that I'm going to say is in the 10 to 15% plus or minus range. So that's about the accuracy I think that we can do. And unless something changes dramatically in the regulations, I think we can rely pretty well on that number. If we do not have significant PCBs in the caulking, I think that 1.8 number will come down. But if we do have significant PCBs in the caulking, it's likely that we'd have to do even further analysis to get into the substrate because PCBs migrate into porous media like cinder blocks and bricks and things like that. So we actually have to sample and find out where we get to less than 1 part per million, and we abate the material that has the PCBs in it separately and prior to demolishing buildings. So
you have to separate the kind of asbestos that
it would have to be done that way. And
okay.
We also have other issues like commingling. We've had fires up there where we've had asbestos roofing materials that have been commingled with other material, deterioration of buildings where you can't safely access it to do the abatement work. In most cases, we are required by regulation to do asbestos abatement under controlled conditions conventionally. If we have hazardous conditions like fires and unsafe building conditions, we have to file what we call a non-traditional asbestos abatement work plan with Mass DEP, get prior approval, and that would have to be a separate advance abatement that would be separate and would have to be done before active demolition commence. Then there are other cost-saving things like crushing asphalt, brick, and concrete and retaining that on site and using it for backfill. And then we have borrowed sources of material that we could use to layer in and backfill the excavation. So we would come up with cost-effective means of reducing the project costs by using materials on site. So it's
Cool, right, Kenny? Any questions for Al on this?
Is the old maintenance building gonna come down too? Is it all, this all part of it? Is it all gonna be inclusive, or is it just a hospital building?
I'm not, Donnie, did the commission decide whether the maintenance building would be inclusive of that tearing down of the building, do you know?
I mean, that building's no good for
When
anything.
you say the
We've
maintenance,
been, we've been concentrating just on the hospital itself.
Plus you got other outbuildings up there too, down in the wooded area.
There's other, the small,
Trees growing up to
the
it.
only buildings that I'm aware of that would be retained would be the old county commissioner buildings and also the historic structure of the Bonnie House.
what about the buildings behind the Bonnie House?
That's the maintenance building.
That's the maintenance building.
I think those are scheduled to come down.
Yeah.
Now, it's up to the town, obviously, we
Oh,
have to
yeah.
decide what we want to do, but
If
I
you get
thought they
somebody
were
in there,
coming
it'd be
down.
crazy.
do you have to
leave it
test
out.
for PCBs on those as well?
Yeah,
Okay,
we would have to expand that under this
Yep.
current, because we did
Understood.
not do that earlier.
Yeah, I
gotcha.
think that needs to be done.
Yep.
I think you
It
do it all. Why leave a couple of maintenance
No, I'm
buildings
in
up?
agreement.
Yeah, there's some
I mean,
old,
the buildings are in poor condition, I don't think they're very useful.
if you walk straight through the building down that path, not the path to the left, but the path straight ahead, and look in the woods, there's a few buildings in there, much smaller buildings, but,
Well, I know that there's one house that was partially burned, I mean, there's a standing
Yeah.
fireplace there and things like that. And there are piles of debris, there are asbestos debris in the wood.
Yeah.
We would include that in the cost estimate and the contract.
Right.
to clean
There's
it
a
up.
trailer down there too, like an empty trailer, you know what I'm
sure
saying?
there are things that have
It's a
been
large
deposited over
one.
the last several years
Yeah,
since I've
lived
been
in.
on the site.
Yeah.
We'll have to do a survey and update. and
On that
get it
too,
cleaned up.
inclusive,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah, so the plan is, and I think everybody in our town is in agreement of cleaning up the property as best we can, and then deciding what we're gonna do with it.
Yeah.
I think at least we're gonna have a lot of differences of opinion on what to do with the property, absolutely. We're gonna hear a lot from everybody on this. But I think before we get to that point, we all agree that we need to tear down what's there in terms of those structures.
oh, yeah. Plus
And they-
we'll be able
yeah.
to take that money that we receive from all the tax title property and the street a house and apply it against it.
Yeah.
Not that it might not, we don't know what we're gonna get for that property,
Right.
so.
So you
but
feel comfortable after
every
that
little
testing's
bit
done
helps,
that
you know, to bring down the
you
cost
can
of
get that number
bonding.
within 10 or 15%?
Yeah.
Absolutely, Bruce.
We've got a lot of, first of all, we've got a lot of history with these types of projects, but I also have a lot of friends in the demolition industry who are active practitioners who will be assisting us.
You're gonna
You
be
can do
up
that
there
prior to-
next week,
I'm
Al?
sorry.
What's that?
You're gonna be up there next week?
Next Thursday and
Next
Friday.
Thursday and
we'll
Okay,
be
good.
doing a
So it'll
survey.
be before town meeting.
Yeah, we'll have the results before town meeting, and we'll have the accurate number, the plus or minus 10 to 15% number by town meeting.
You had mentioned too, Alan, I thought this was a good point. Mike, we should try to find out what we're paying on insurance for up there,
Mhm.
correct? On those buildings too. So, that's a good point, absolutely. Any other questions to Mr. Hanscom on this?
No, I think he's covered it quite thoroughly.
Thank you. Oh, I'm sorry, Joe Weeks,
Yeah, just because I walked in late. What was the number? Just
1.8.
one thing.
Kenny Mitchell has a question.
Yeah, I have a question. So let's say everything goes through and it comes in under the number, how long will this process take before those buildings are down? So assuming it gets,
That's up to you, I mean.
assuming that town meeting approves it, and the funding's
How soon
there.
do we have access to funds?
Well, somebody would have to write an RFP for it.
Well,
and then-
that's the process.
That's
I
the
can explain.
process
I just-
now.
no, Do we have access
Immediately,
to the money?
yes.
Okay, if the town wanted to, say coming out of the first week in October, I could have contract documents on the street within the month of October. There would be a bidding period of three weeks, probably 3.5 weeks. I would say we could have bids in by November.
2 months, I'm sorry, Kenny.
Doing wintertime demolition is not a problem typically. We could let a contract in December if we wanted to do that. And we
It's
could
generally
probably.
cheaper in those off months
I
as
think
well.
you can actually get some very good demolition numbers.
Did Mike talk to you about doing two separate RFPs, one for the remediation and the one for the demo of the building?
I have done it both ways. I can tell you it's gonna be more cost effective to do it as one contract.
Yeah, that was the conversation we ended up, we decided, amongst ourselves, obviously, but going forward, we'd have to have the board support, but it makes more sense
In this
to
case,
try
yes.
to attract companies that would do both, as opposed to separating it out.
There are companies that do both. without subbing
So
it out.
one
There are
company that
several-
would do both.
There are several companies that do both, but they also have prime sub relationships that are long-standing relationships. I know there are several that have worked together for 30, 40 years with an abatement company and a demolition company, and they just always work together.
Why is that beneficial? How much more do you think they save approximately, Alan?
It's just, you have one overhead, one administration,
One
it's just much more
company doing it.
cost effective.
Administrative costs and things of that nature.
That
The soft
makes
costs.
sense.
Much more efficient, because they can coordinate each other's activities as one entity. You don't have one person, two people.
Going to places, right, to go to.
And it also can be done more streamlined, and we could actually get it done during the winter months, so in the spring it would be done.
Yeah, the winter would be better too, because you've got less people outside, maybe dealing with the dust, or I don't think that, you know what I'm saying?
Well,
Not
dust
that,
control in winter
Part of it.
months
That's part
can be
of it, yeah.
challenging, because if you do have windy, dry air conditions, and you're knocking down buildings, you have to have water to keep the
to
dust
keep it on,
down.
yeah, I hear you.
So you can create some icing conditions, but in this climate, we don't often have below 32 degrees constantly for weeks and weeks and weeks. Sometimes we do,
Right,
but most times we don't. So we can mist and control the dust in that manner.
Maybe
Plus,
they'll
we don't
just-
have any immediate butters either, really, to.
right, I get you,
to the area.
Maybe they'll just be misty and just keep everything damp, so everything will work out fine.
yeah.
Right. All you want to do is just knock the dust down.
Yeah.
And in this case, we don't, I've seen buildings, real old mill buildings that have, plaster and lab construction. And, if you can imagine a 6-story building that's a steel shell, and you've got plaster and lab, and you're kind of wrecking it, you're pulling it apart with shears, 80 feet off the ground, that just creates a big dust.
Cloud, yeah.
So you have to have misters on your high-reach equipment to spray it down and knock the dust
Keep it down.
In this case, we don't have anything nearly that significant. We're gonna use, probably, the demolition contractor will use an extended reach excavator, and then he'll use some attachments to kind
Was it
of
up top?
knock things down, press things down, and then bring it down.
That's great. Any other questions to Alan?
I'll be working with Mike on this, so if there are any questions.
You give Mike the times he'll be there Thursday or Friday when you start?
Mike will know every step.
Okay.
And
Donnie might want to go up there with you.
Donnie,
That-
you're welcome to go anytime.
No, well, I don't want to be up there at 6 o'clock in the morning. I start my day early.
We'll let you know, so you can join us if you'd like.
That would be nice, thank you.
You'll have to skip McDonald's that morning, Donnie.
Yeah, for the pancakes. So, Mike, was that the end of your report, Mike? Apologies.
No, actually, I had deferred my report. I just wanted to get to Alan
Wanna talk about
first.
awning tonight?
Or do you want to talk about that when we talk about the articles?
We can talk about that when we talk about the articles.
Okay.
Yeah, and you don't have to stay around, I can handle that.
Did you want to did you have anything further to report, Mike, or were you?
Well, I guess at this point, is it appropriate for the board to make a motion to approve that amount to go into the matrix, or do you want to wait until?
We could move,
We can go along as we go through the
Matrix,
thing.
right?
and make it right.
Capital
Okay,
Improvement Committee
okay, I
has to
didn't know
approve
whether
the
that should
matrix, right?
stand as a separate.
Yeah.
All right, well, then I
That should
can,
go through you.
right, but we can at least let the capital
Submit it to the
improvement,
Capital Improvement Committee.
we can allow
That would be
the,
the motion.
we can allow the capital improvement committee to at least know that we approve this number, because I'm sure they're looking
Because
for a
he's
number.
here, yeah.
Yeah, so we're fortunate. So, moving on to new business, I take it, is that right?
oh, well, no, I've got a few things I can touch upon in my
Yeah,
report.
why don't you do that, then we'll move on
Sure.
to this, okay?
I wanted to mention that we had a conversation with the building inspector, with the chairman of the Conservation Commission, and with the fire chief in terms of, and also with town council, Mike Kennefic, in terms of going forward with the demolition of the building on Ocean Ave. We expect to have a date confirmed with the demo company before the end of this week. Hopefully, the building will come down in the following week or so. There was just some last-minute concerns and they were minor concerns that the Conservation Commission had in regards to that demo. Again, we've spoken through those, and there are really no impediments going forward to finally tending to that site. I did receive a report, or I did receive a letter from the town of Rockland, and I may have alluded to this in other meetings, that the town of Rockland has made the decision to pull out of the municipal medical health group.
Okay.
I'm not sure where that is going to lead in terms of the impact on the town of Hanson or the overall health group. However, as I had stated in previous meetings, I have reached out and sent the appropriate information, the backup information, to Maya, which is the insurance arm of the MMA, as well as a couple other potential insurers to give us some ideas of how the town of Hanson may wish to move forward in providing health insurance to its employees and retirees. Again, I'm not ready to make the recommendation that the town leave Mayflower. However, I think it was significant that Rockland did take that step in pulling out. And again, it's something I wanted to make the board aware of.
Did they say why, Mike?
The letter was,
Financial reasons?
well, it's financial reasons and the concerns of, making sure that the proper coverage was given to the employees of the town of Rockland going forward, so.
I have a question for him on that, if I could, Mr. Chairman.
Mr.
Just a
Young?
quick question, Mike. If you decide to, there has to be some kind of agreement between the towns and the Mayflower Group, what kind of a lead time do you have to give the Mayflower Group?
Before the end of the calendar year.
All right.
Before
So
the end of the
you would
calendar
have to
year.
decide before the end of December?
Yes, and actually, it needs to be a vote of the Board of Selectmen.
Vote of the board? Okay.
That would be the process. I did receive a copy of a letter that was co-signed by Senator Brady and Representative Cutler in furtherance of our letters that were sent out to try to free up the funds that were put in this year's
Oh, yeah.
state budget for the money to test Wabatuck Pond and for Camp Kawani.
We
So-
want to hurry up and get that before it gets taken away, right?
Yes, exactly. The concern, again, is if we don't receive those funds and they languish for too long, they could possibly be taken away through,
Reallocation and stuff like that.
yeah, they're called 9C cuts that the governor can enact if there are any budget shortfalls going towards the end of the fiscal year. So the notion is to try to get that money secured before we reach that point.
Can I have the-
So they did follow up with a similar letter to the appropriate people in the state.
Okay.
Can I ask him a question on that, too?
Bruce has a question for you, Mike?
On the Camp Kawani funds, can you find out whether there's gonna be any restrictions as to what that money can be
It's
used
funny,
for?
it's funny you should ask me that, Selectman Young, because I did reach out after I received this letter just today to see under what auspices we're receiving this money, whether
Yeah.
it's
Free money's not
$30,000
free.
to
Yeah.
whatever we decide to do, whether it's $30,000 to the septic, $30,000 to whatever. That was not delineated, as far as I could tell, in the legislation. So I am reaching out to see what sort of constraints
It's interesting
we might
to
have
see
on that 30.
Yeah, right.
That's because free money isn't free,
Yeah.
not always.
And obviously, the $20,000 for the pond is much better to find, but this is, it's pretty open-ended as far as I can tell. As the chairman mentioned in reading the announcements, we will be having a presentation of the Boston Post-Cane on the 20th of September on Meeting House Lane. I'm happy to report that Representative Cutler will be in attendance with a proclamation from the House of Representatives. A representative from Senator Brady's office will be providing the same from the State Senate. And a gentleman will be, Mike Jackman from U.S. Congressman Keating's office will also be in attendance to deliver a similar proclamation. So it'll be well attended, especially by our representatives, our elected legislators. I did receive just today, and I would like to read it, a letter from the organizations that put on the Hanson Family Fun Day back a week or so ago. It is sent to us from the Salvation Army, the First Baptist Church, the First Congregational Church, and the Calvary Baptist Church. And it's short, and it's signed by all of their representatives. Dear Board of Selectmen, thank you for your support of the Hanson Family Fun Day 2016. Without your assistance, The event could not have been the success that it was. Your enthusiastic approval of this community outreach gave us the confidence to move forward in reaching out to other sources of assistance. We believe that the town of Hanson was positively impacted as a result of your sharing our vision for this event. We look forward to many years of working together for the benefit of Hanson. And I would like to note that when they dropped this off, they did mention to me that they were able to provide 100 backpacks to the children that attended, along with other school supplies for the children that attended. So from all reports, it went very well, and they have sent us a letter of thank you for this board's support.
Nice. Joe, you were there with your daughters, right?
Yes, it was.
Saw you in the picture, in the paper. Nice job.
And that is all I have for this evening, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Chairman,
Mr. Young?
one thing else to add, I was on my daily walk this morning past the Nathaniel Thomas Mill, and I'm pleased to report that is that polished granite? Is that what that is?
Yes.
The bench was delivered this morning and installed, so when you have a chance, go take a look at that beautiful bench that's in a little park area as you face the mill off to the left.
Is it down by the mill?
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's not in the parking area, though.
no, it's to the left of the mill as you face it, to that
Okay,
little, if you
good.
cross over that bridge,
Yep.
it's right in that area there.
No, somebody asked me where I was going, and I
Yeah.
didn't know.
Well, we should probably give some people in the audience a little heads up on that. There was a dedication to Mr. John Ferry on Sunday, and we dedicated this Ferry Square up at the corner of Liberty Street and Winter. And I actually went, and I know, Kenny, you couldn't make it, and I passed on your reasons why to
I
to
appreciate
Jack, and Jack said he's gonna give you a hard time, of course, right? So, it was a really, really nice ceremony, guys, folks. I think you were there. Bill, what did you think about it overall? Did you see the medals, Bill? Did you see the medals and the jacket, the flak jacket on them for John? I thought it was really kinda cool.
Yes, very nice.
I thought it was, something.
Flyover was nice.
Yes, it was.
It was nice.
I had actually, yeah, I mean, I thought, I think, I just wanted to mention real quickly that most notably was Mr. Ferry's service to his country as a decorated veteran of World War II, B-25 flight engineer gunner in the China-Burma India Theater of War, flied 75 missions during that time, in achieving the rank of staff sergeant. He also served with the 83 Bomb Squadron, 12th Bomb Group of the 10th Air Force, received Distinguished Flying Cross, Air Medal with 3 Bronze Oak Leaf Clusters, 7 Bronze Stars with Good Conduct Medal, and the Pacific Service Medal. So he was an avid mechanic and dedicated person to this town, and we thank him for his service and everything that he's done here. I think it was a great memorial put together by Mr. Bob Arsenal, right? And we thank him for all his help and the members who attended there. So I wanted to make sure that we pass that on. I would be remiss, Mike, thank you for your report, but there were 2 items that we missed on the announcements that are not, I think we have the older Dropbox item, Mary, that I should read. One was the Dollars for Scholars. Annual Electronic Recycling Day will be held on Saturday, September 17th, from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. at the McQuon School. For more information, please contact Mike at 781-252-9683 or visit www.womenandhanson.dollarsforscholars.org. No, it wasn't, the one that we have, the hard copy one is probably more up to date. No big deal.
Also, the town clerk's office will
That's
be
right.
closed.
That's correct. Do you want to read that one, brother?
No, you can do it.
All right. The town clerk's office will close at noontime on Wednesday, September 14th, and will reopen at 8 a.m. on Thursday, September 15th. So we needed to make sure that those 2 items were included in our announcements. And I believe we're ready to move on to the next item, which is new business, which is a vote to place the Plymouth County Hospital demolition, or to recommend to place on the, vote to recommend to place on the Plymouth County Hospital demolition on the capital improvement matrix in the amount of 1.8, based on what we previously discussed.
So moved.
Motion's been.
Second.
Motion been moved and seconded. Discussion. Mr. Weeks.
So I apologize, I was actually reading the email as I was, as you guys were talking about it. Doesn't the monies have to be put on the capital improvement matrix, does it have to go through us first? We posted a meeting to discuss this on Monday.
That's right.
Let me explain.
Just for this reason, do we have to do it
This,
first? Or
the project's already on the matrix,
Mhm.
and we need to adjust the number, but because we had 10 on there. So, under the bylaws, if we have to make a change or add something to the capital plan that was not already on the plan, it's a vote of the Board of Selectmen, the Finance Committee, to determine that it's extraordinary circumstance, that it wasn't added in May, and then the capital improvement votes as well. So the selectmen have to vote,
That's
the
right.
finance have to vote to determine it's extraordinary, that it wasn't on in the first place, and then the capital improvement votes as well.
just for the sake of recommendation, is that what we're voting for, or?
To place it on, and then you can make a recommendation or not, we're requesting that it's,
Isn't it already on the matrix too, Mary?
it's already on the matrix at 10,000.
$10,000.
At the time, we didn't expect to be doing anything at the hospital, but with the highway bond being put off until spring, the money is available, we'll be
Yeah.
able to take it down.
Either way,
So,
it's fine, just
yeah.
curious.
Yep.
Yeah, so we have to, we won't be meeting next week, and we wanna be able to get it, move forward for town meeting,
Totally
so,
fine, I just
yeah.
totally.
So that's what the process.
I didn't have that bylaw in front of me, but
That's
that
all
is a
right.
section of the bylaw for that.
No worries.
Extraordinary circumstances.
Yep. So further discussion? Anybody else? Any questions? All right, let's put it to vote. All those in favor, say aye. Aye.
No.
One no. 4-1, oh, Mary. Okay, I have next on our agenda is the review and finalize town meeting articles. So, some of you have hard copies in front of you, some of you might have the, see, Kenny, when I hit it twice, it's supposed to expand it, but why isn't it?
Try holding your finger on it, that'll bring it up.
I'm gonna go sideways.
Yeah, I hear you, but it's supposed to expand
When's the
it.
school committee meeting to?
School committee meeting is tomorrow night.
Is that on the,
Thank you.
are they gonna be talking about the contracts?
I think Mike McHugh is gonna be going to that. Mike, that would be part of the town administrator's report, right? You're going tomorrow to the meeting?
Yeah,
with the school
as we
committee?
discussed last week.
Yep.
And I did get copies of the, just today, got copies of the
Contracts?
contracts that were requested and forwarded it to the members of the board this afternoon.
Oh,
Okay.
okay, take a look at that.
Yeah, yeah.
Mary, do you put those in our Dropbox, or do you send it to us email? Send it to
Mike
Mike.
sent it to
Oh,
you.
no,
I did
yeah,
not-
Mike
I
Mike
emailed
sent
it.
it in
No,
email?
they weren't necessarily part of the discussion this evening. It was
Okay.
just a request from the board last week that I just provided, so,
Mike's not Dropbox material yet.
no, not yet. No, the board had voted last week to make me the representative of the meeting, and I think the chairman to be the alternate, should something happen.
Right.
But a follow-up had been, members of the board had asked if, at some point when I got the copy, just to forward it to them, which we did today.
Okay. So gentlemen, on our next itemized is to review and finalize the town meeting articles. Is it recommended, Mary, that we open up the warrant to do this, or necessarily, or no?
No, we can just make our recommendations. I'll tell you what we had done during the course of the day. We went over them with the town
Town
accountant.
accountant?
And added some numbers in. We had some numbers missing, so if you want to actually look at the spreadsheet.
I have the summary sheet in front of me, and I also have the detail one.
Right.
Do you guys want me to read the details of each one?
Well, I can tell you what we changed, since the board's already made recommendations.
Okay.
So we have a couple out there. The first one, we actually have numbers on unpaid bills.
Unpaid bills, I saw that one.
It's $4,620. That could change if something comes in between now and town meeting. So $3,100 will be coming from free cash, and $1,520 will be coming from retained earnings from recreation, because they're recreations bills.
Okay.
And attached to your spreadsheets are 2 pages in the back. One explains what the unpaid bills are, we'll say Article 1. And
Okay.
then the next one will say Article 2, which would be what's in the supplemental budget. Let's see.
Oh, okay.
And I think the only, what was outstanding, I received a number for I'll update the number for the Plymouth County Hospital from 1.5 to 1.8 after
1.8.
tonight's meeting. That will be changed in the spreadsheet, and I'll add it, I'm not sure if it's in the, it may be estimated in the posted, so I can fix it in the posted. The other number that was missing was Article 12, which was the police, fire, and highway for the lighting plant.
Is that
We got a
20,000?
number on that, which is 20,000. So we have hold for a recommendation on that. If you want to approve that recommendation or not, we can do that now.
Okay, do we have to open the warrant or no?
You don't, no, these are your recommendations.
We're just recommending?
Mhm.
Okay, so should I move up to Article 6 on the Plymouth County Hospital and recommend for 1.8?
Yeah,
Would that be
good idea.
moving in that order?
Mhm.
Yeah, there's no number on the posted.
Right? So I would make a motion to recommend Article 6 for 1.8 on the demolition of the Plymouth County Hospital as previously discussed.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Discussion. I think we've talked enough about it. Okay, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
No.
No, 4-1. 4-1. Okay, next one we had was Mary's on the lighting plant for the police, fire, and highway. $20,000 from free cash. Motion to recommend.
Which one is that?
So
That's
moved.
Article 12, sorry.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion? I'll tell you what I'll do, just for those people at home who probably don't have this stuff in front of them. Why don't I read it real quick? To see if the town will vote to raise the appropriate or transfer from free cash or available funds a sum of money to purchase the equipment, a portable lighting plant, which would be used for emergency use when additional lighting is needed, as well as town functions by all town departments, or take any action in relation to thereto. This is the item that Bob Brown had given to us a couple weeks ago, discussion item, so. Motion has been made and seconded. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. 5-0, recommend, Mary. The next item is I imagine you want to move to all the holds, right, Mary? So I'm guessing.
Right, if we can go through
Article
them.
13? So Article 13 reads, to see if the town will vote to ratify a collective bargaining agreement between the Hanson Water Department Board of Water Commissioners, and the AFSCME Local 1700 Water Union, and further to appropriate a sum of monies through water revenues to be added to the amount appropriated under Article 5, Line 90, salaries for the purpose of funding the first year of the 3-year contract for the period beginning July 1st, 2016 and ending June 30, 2017. The explanation on this article is to fund the salary line for the settlement of the Water Department's fiscal year 17 union contract, estimated at $10,820. So motion to recommend.
Mr. Chairman, if I could, I'd like the board to hold on this until the next meeting. You obviously can make recommendations up until the town meeting. I think I might like to have a discussion with the board about this at a future date
Okay.
in terms of your recommendation.
Gentlemen, would you be in agreement to hold on this item until Mike discusses it?
Sure.
General
Motion, or do you just?
No, just.
We'll hold
General
on.
consensus?
So we'll just keep
It's
it as a
on hold
hold.
right now.
We'll just, we'll put it on hold. Thank you, Mike. Come back to that one in sometime after you discuss.
Yep.
Next item I had was for holding on the amount for the new truck, Article 15, which was to see if the town will vote to transfer a sum of monies from water revenues to purchase a new truck for the water department. The explanation on this truck will replace the 1996 Ford International vehicle that is 20 years old and costing the water department hundreds of dollars to repair. So the amount that they've listed here is $100,000 for this new truck. This is not like the typical pickup trucks. This is a work truck from the.
Right.
I would say so.
Right, Donnie?
Yes, it is.
Okay,
It's to replace that larger work.
the larger work, yeah.
Is it
okay.
utility body, Don, or something?
Yeah, it's got the bodies on it and everything.
Okay.
Yep.
Power takeoffs for everything, for the pumps, or compressor and everything.
Okay.
It's all in one unit.
So I would make a motion to recommend,
So moved.
Second.
moved and seconded by Mr. Young. Moved by Mr. Howard, seconded by Mr. Young. Discussion. Again, this is one of those items that Bob had brought up to us at his.
No, this is the water department's vehicle.
Water
Oh, I'm
department,
sorry.
water department.
So
I'm
this is
thinking
coming
highway.
from water revenue.
Water
Yeah,
revenue,
water revenue, I apologize. You're right, thank you, Mary. Keeping
not
me on
costing
track.
anything to the taxpayer.
No effect on the tax rate, no effect on. the
No
tax
effect on
rate.
tax rates, okay. Further discussion, anything?
No.
All right, all those in favor to recommend?
Aye.
Aye.
5-0. Thank you, Mary. Thank you, gentlemen. Next I have is Article 16, which is also from the Water Department. This is an engineer master plan in the amount of $50,000. And Article 16 reads, to see if the town will vote to transfer from surplus a sum of monies for engineering purposes to update the Water Department's master plan or take any other action in relation thereto.
So
This-
moved.
This money will be used to update the Water Department's master plan, which was last updated in 2008, right? So this is all gonna include all the new pipes and the new
Right.
mains drawn on it and so forth, so. Okay,
It's a
motion,
large master plan that's inside the water department,
Oh, yeah. it's
on the
a-
back wall.
Back
There's
wall?
also a book
Just,
that
you
goes
can
with
see
it.
everything in town, it's
It
all,
identifies every pipe,
cool.
every water main in the town,
right,
when it was
and the
built,
gates.
when it was
Nice.
built, what the materials consist of, the condition of it, and also sets priorities as to when you think that those pipes that run all over the town of Hanson are supposed to be replaced.
very nice,
It's valuable to the water department.
sure.
We have a motion and a.
We have a motion, who,
second.
who seconded it? Did somebody second it?
I
Kenny?
second.
Okay, let's call it to vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, 5-0. 5-0, guys. All right, we're moving right along. The next item we had on for hold-on amount was Article 19. This is now Article 19. This is Camp Kiwanis Septic. We're basically putting this on as a placeholder. Am I correct on that, Mike?
Yeah, that's correct. We're actually hopeful that we perhaps at town meeting can reduce this number or perhaps even eliminate the article. However, to be on the safe side, and Alan and I have a meeting with the Board of Health tomorrow morning, to be on the safe side, we want to make sure the $75,000 that was allocated at the annual meeting in May
Is put
is
to that.
sufficient. And there is the possibility, as we go through again, the process, I think that Alan feels comfortable to have the article here for the time being with the potential of an additional 25,000. It certainly would not exceed the 25,000, and again, it could be less or actually could even disappear, but we
Okay.
don't want to miss the opportunity if we need the additional funds to request them.
Because there's two septics, is there, Mike, up there? One is for the lodge?
That's
One
our
is-
understanding. This article was to actually fix the one for the lodge. My understanding is that it's not quite in failure right now, but it's costing the operation up there every week to pump it out. It's, I guess, been on the radar screen for a couple of years now, and there's just some, while we're taking stock of what needs to be up there, we want to explore one other possibility in terms of the concept. If we're gonna do it, we want to do it right. So, again, that may necessitate the need for some extra money.
Okay.
Hopefully, it doesn't.
The only, Mary, I just noticed on this one, in the explanation, we say an estimate of 20,000, but on our summary, I think we put 25. So
Oh,
we want
okay.
to change the detail to 25. So I'll read the article for the folks out there. To see if the town will vote to transfer a sum of money from the Recreation Enterprise Fund retained earnings to the amounts appropriated in May 2016 annual town meeting. Article 11, Item H, Recreation, replace septic system or take any other action in relation thereto. These additional funds are needed for the engineering and installation of a new septic system.
Well, let me ask you this,
Mr. Young,
should we include in there other available funds?
Well, it's coming from their
Retained.
enterprise fund.
yeah,
Well, that was the only reason I asked the question about the money from the state, which is how much money?
how much money is it from the state, Mike?
30,000.
Okay.
So you're thinking of putting that 30,000 to the septic? Is that what you're thinking?
I didn't realize how much money it was.
Well, that's until we find out what conditions are on that too, right?
Yes. whether it's anything we'd like to do that's appropriate for the camp, or whether it was specifically earmarked for
Something, right,
something.
something to consider, Bruce.
Well, only because we're taking money from the retained earnings for the new recreation director as well. So, which is also an article in here.
Well,
I don't believe that we would have to vote in that fashion. If the money comes in and it's unfettered, the money is available immediately and can be directed right to that particular,
right to that item?
right to that item without the necessity of a town meeting vote.
So I would entertain a motion to recommend Article 19 in the amount of $25,000 for the Camp Quaney septic.
So moved.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Further discussion? All right, all those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
5-0, Mary.
Okay, now Article 20
Yes, ma'am.
is, was formerly 21. I
Yes.
just kind of moved them back and forth, and it had
Which
been.
was for only 32, yes.
Which is for, exactly, so if you're following this on the chart, so this is the new article to fund the director of.
Recreation director.
Recreation director position.
Correct. And so it reads, to see if the town will vote to transfer a sum of money from the Recreation Enterprise Fund retained earnings to the amounts appropriated in May 2016 Annual Town Meeting Article 7 to fund the position of Recreation Director or take any other action in relation thereto. The explanation is these funds will be used to fund the position of Recreation Director for the period of January 1st, 2017 to June 30th, 2017. And the amount on that is $35,000.
So moved.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Further discussion?
Yes, question. 35,000, at the last meeting, Bruce, you had said that was 6 months?
Yeah, well,
That's
let's remember that the amount that, I'm not sure what we're gonna,
Yeah, it's
what
not-
amount we're gonna hire that recreation director for, but we put a range in there, as 30 to 50, that was approved at the last May town meeting as part of the classification and compensation bylaw.
Well,
So what I did is, and I included the possibility of a person being hired for that, which would also generate the need for fringe benefits as well. So I maximized that to the 35, which would be 25,000 for half a year, which would be the $50,000 figure. And I
Okay.
maximized it on the basis of what the group insurance and life insurance is gonna cost the town on an annual basis, and that's how I came up with the 35.
No, I was just double checking, because it was the gentleman that had asked last week, he was questioning the $35,000 salary, and you had said that's just for 6 months. So my question was gonna be, can the enterprise fund, can that sustain a $70,000 salary for that position? That was my question.
And it's
Well, the
sustained,
30
Yeah, can the enterprise, can that fund, can they sustain a $70,000 salary for that position?
Don't forget that recreation director is going to be working to maximize rentals and also.
No, I'm familiar with the job description, I just wanna
Yeah,
make sure that
That's one of
that's.
the purposes of that, and promote
Right, okay.
the camp and promote more rentals and.
But this 35,000 is for the entire year, not for the 6-month period.
That's where I'm
It's for a
confused.
6-month period.
It's just for the 35,000 for
January
the
through
6 month?
June.
So he's asking for the next 6 months after that, it'd be another
So
35,000.
you'd be hiring somebody at 70,000.
Right.
No, that's what Bruce is saying.
I mean, unless you're gonna, just,
I think I know where Selectman Young is going with
I
this,
see.
is he's trying to fully fund the, well, I don't want to say that the hidden cost, but the full cost of a position.
The
full
true
of-
cost.
The true cost of a position is
Yeah,
not
the
only
true
the
cost.
salary,
It's
but
fringe
it has,
benefit,
but
yeah.
benefits as well. And I will also say that by town meeting allocating, and I think I hinted around to this at during the last discussion on this topic, town meeting approving putting this in the budget doesn't necessarily mean that we're hiring the person at that amount.
right?
As you've mentioned, Ken, the range went from, what, 35,000 to 50,000?
Right,
So
which I thought was
we-
for 1 year, and then last week it
And
changed.
during our process in hiring someone,
that.
we don't need to maximize it at the high rate.
Yeah.
This just allows us to move forward with a ceiling, more than, for the best definition,
because
a
we've got-
ceiling. So we're not going back and we
Right, 'cause
get
I would think the
discussions. and-
benefits would be paid out of taxation.
Well, let me ask you
And
this
then
question.
they, and then the enterprise fund would pay the salary,
Well,
but.
the ideal
just-
situation would be to have everything paid out of retained earnings, all right? That
Yeah,
would be
I
the
agree
ideal
with that.
situation for that. Let's keep in mind that before that, 75,000 came out for, that 75,000 is a one-time shot for the septic system for up there.
Yeah.
It's exceptional. I don't think the Camp Quaney's ever paid for something for capital planning before of that amount of money.
Mhm.
So that 75,000 is coming out of retained earnings, all right? They actually closed the year, I don't have the figures, I do have the figures with me here, but there was well over, I'm gonna say $150,000 in retained earnings on the books as of June 30th, all right?
Great,
That-
that's awesome.
That really is what the difference between their expenses and their revenues were over the past, is that for June 30th?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, where is that?
June 30th, period ended. I just got it from the finance department at Camp Kawani.
Oh,
Budget to actual.
budget to actual. Oh, here it is right here. Yeah, I'll back to it.
Mhm.
174,000 fund balance at the end of the year. 174,464.84, okay? From that, there were encumbrances for 2016 yet to be paid of $4,448.19.
Mhm.
Reserve for budget, there was $8,000, I'm not sure what that was. And reserve
For
for
the
the septic,
septic, 75.
$75,000, that brought the retained earnings down to $87,016.65,
Mm.
okay? And they actually made,
So that was the end, that was June 30?
yeah,
Excess deficiency.
operating transfers in.
Yep.
They were they were
Deficiency of revenues.
total of the funding sources, they were $31,000 to the good,
Mhm.
okay, for that year. All right, so that will continue to build up, whatever the balance is.
For that.
And hopefully,
Good.
bringing the recreation director will max out the rentals. You know, the
And
cabins are
even more.
greatly underutilized,
Yep.
if you ever
Can we
walk
get a
up
copy of
there.
that?
Everybody
So-
will. I just got it before this meeting.
If,
Okay.
if you look in the, if you look at the whole picture, they were in
Mike,
excellent
can you make
financial
sure everybody
position
gets
at the
a
end
copy
of
of
Right.
Do you have one, Mike, or no?
2016. And hopefully,
I've got one
that's gonna
upstairs, yeah,
continue.
I don't have it with me.
and it's gonna improve over the years.
Good,
Okay, so that was actually an excellent question.
Mr.
Oh,
Weeks
I'm
has a
sorry,
question.
Mr. Weeks?
Just for the sake of clarification, so, because I am a little bit confused on it, and I don't think it's an intentional confusion, but the idea is, so the position for 35 to 50, that is the salary for, that's the fund, that's the amount we're gonna appropriate for that salary, 35 to 50. And the dates coincide with January 1st to the end of June, right?
Correct.
So if,
Fiscal,
So if it works
remainder
out,
of the fiscal
That's
year.
the calendar year.
right, exactly, so if it works out that
And then you have the fiscal year.
that it's, we don't have to hire anybody, but if, let's say we do, let's say we hire someone that, January 1st. If it works out, and we wanna go from July 1st to the, December 31st,
Yep.
do we just are we extending the date? Are we doubling
No,
the salary?
that'll be,
Are we
In May.
doing both?
you'll vote that in May.
So, okay, so every single time it'll be.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's the
So
annual.
at the end of this, starting July
Well, we went to
1st,
the-
we would be
Moving
refunding.
to it,
You
right.
know, when you get to the
Awesome.
recreation
Thank you.
portion of the annual budget, just like we did this year, you'll vote as to what you're gonna fund and where the money's coming from.
Right.
Yep.
Just
Good
for,
question.
just for sake of clarification too, and I sense there's a little bit of confusion on the part of the board, and there could be confusion by those watching us at home. The town voted in May to create this position with a cap of $50,000, a maximum of $50,000 salary. So when Selectman Young, and I think he explained it well, but when Selectman Young originally threw out the notion of $35,000, I think some people misconstrued that as a position that would pay $70,000. And as he explained here this evening, it was more of an attempt at a true cost, not only for salary but benefits. So we can't, unless town meeting changes the maximum on this position, we cannot pay someone $70,000.
Yeah, you can't.
We are bound by the vote of town meeting not to exceed $50,000 on this position, just so
That answers
everyone
my
The
understands.
question.
sal-
Thank
the
you very
salary,
much.
the salary in that position, not the salary plus
That's
the
exactly
benefits.
what I was looking for.
Yeah, yeah.
So that makes sense, Mike, because you're right, Joe, what would happen after June 30th, 2017?
That's all I care about, just what's gonna happen after.
Yep, I understand.
Yeah,
I was gonna consider applying, that's why I asked.
no. You know, I was
Right
an
after
accountant,
me,
I was an
yeah.
accountant for 34 years. I can usually anticipate the question before it's answered,
Yeah.
before it's asked. So I did that last week, and I came up with that figure, which I
Thank
thought
you,
was an
I
accurate
appreciate
figure.
the clarification.
So we do have a motion, did we not motion to hold it? I forget.
We did.
So we have a motion
did.
to recommend.
Motion to
We
recommend,
had lots of discussion,
Yeah.
and now we're ready for vote.
and now we're ready to
Lots of-
vote,
lots of
okay.
discussion.
Just want to make sure it was seconded by Mr. Mitchell.
Yes.
Is
It
that
was.
correct? Okay. So, any further discussion? These are good questions. These are get ready for town meeting.
I love questions.
Yeah, these are good. All right, all those in favor of Article 20, funding the Recreation Director's position for Camp Corning, $35,000.
Aye.
Recommended? 5-0, Mary. The next hold item we had was, well, if you guys would indulge me, what I'd like to read, Mike, is part of the Article 22. Mike, correct me if I'm wrong. Article 22, it was recommended by this board, and it's ATV on public property, which says to see if the town will vote to amend the Hanson General Bylaws, Article 3-8, by adding a new section as follows. All-terrain vehicles on town property, no person shall operate a motorized all-terrain vehicle, snowmobile, dirt bike, or other similar motorized off-road utility vehicle as may be defined under General Law, Chapter 90B, on any town-owned property without the express written permission of the Board of Selectmen. And item 2 to that is fines for violation of this bylaw shall be $100 for the first offense, and $300 for each additional offense. The selectmen or their designees shall have the authority to issue fines via a non-criminal disposition. Fines shall be in addition to any available equitable means of enforcement. So, this particular item was was one of the goals, if I'm not mistaken, of the open space plan that we talked about, right, Mike?
Yes.
So this was this is one of those goals that was part of that open space plan that we talked about on August 9th.
Mhm.
So well done. Thank you, Mike, for following up on that. Could we just make sure, if I forget, if we could throw the Phil Lindquist a quick email on this one, just let him know that this
It's
is one of
gonna
the
be on.
goals. Yeah, it's definitely there for the open space, please. I'll move directly, unless anybody has any objections, to Article 27, which is the last article that we had on hold. And I will read it. It says, "To see if the town will vote to have an elected committee known as the Memorial Field Trustees become a committee appointed by the Board of Selectmen, such vote being conditioned upon passage of the voters at the next annual town election." Was that worded?
Explain it.
You want to explain that, Mary?
I sent what the board wanted, requested,
To-
and I sent it to town council. He came back with this revised motion. I said, well, they want to petition the legislature. He says, you can do this in a two-step process and just vote it without having to petition the legislature. So, that was his recommendation to
Oh,
go
yeah,
forward.
I actually talked to Beth about that, and she told me that
Mr. Young?
at some point the law was changed, so you can actually just vote this at town meeting, and then it has to be on the town meeting
It's a
ballot.
two-step process.
be on
Whereas
the ballot
before,
in
when we
May?
did the highway surveyor, you can do it a couple ways. And one
Yeah.
way was to petition the legislature, so you don't need a
Yeah.
ballot question.
Which takes
But
forever.
we know how long that took, so
Yeah.
we can deal with this in May. We'll put vote, later on, we can vote to put a question on the ballot.
That's super,
So,
yep.
okay.
Okay, so the explanation read, "For several years, many of the elected positions of the trustees of Memorial Fields have been unfilled, excuse me. Many times, no one takes out nomination papers for the open seats, resulting in write-in candidates who are elected by very few votes and are unwilling to serve. The Parks and Fields Commission has taken over the maintenance and scheduling of the activities of this field. Currently, there are 2 vacancies on the trustees of Memorial Fields." So with the wording on this article, I would entertain a motion. Was this what you read for your
No.
change, Bruce? Or does it slightly change? from what you understand?
His was different.
It was different,
Authorize the
wasn't it?
Board of Selectmen to petition the legislature to change the position
No, I
of
didn't realize.
Oh,
you
I
could-
see.
I didn't
Trustees.
realize you
And then we
could,
cleared it up with Beth and the farmer, okay, I got you.
Yeah.
Okay, so, I would entertain a motion to proceed or recommend with Article 27 as read.
So moved.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Further discussion on this? Are there any questions? Because this could get a bit confusing from what Bruce originally said to what we're at now, okay?
No, but it's
I know, it's pretty straightforward.
pretty straightforward.
Yeah. All right, if there are no questions, I would, and it's been made and seconded, motion, I would call to vote. All those in favor? Aye, 5-0. Thank you, Mary. So we have now finished the review of those articles
Mr.
on
Chairman, I
hold.
do have one question.
Sure.
On Article 13 for the water department, I wasn't aware that there's a collective bargaining agreement that was made between the water department and the water commissioners. Could I get a copy of that agreement? And I know you said you were gonna discuss
Yeah.
that down the road, but could I get a copy of that before our discussion, please?
Yep.
Thank you.
Did we ever, while you're on the subject, did we ever get a copy of the teacher's contract? from
I know
last
Mike
year?
had asked one for one. Mike,
We asked for one months ago.
Yeah, I'm not sure why we haven't gotten that, but I can tell you safely we have not gotten it, so I will,
we
I
did
will
ask,
that
so I
question
know that.
again.
Yeah,
Yes,
because we
yes,
have,
we
because
did
of the
ask. Yes, we
post,
did.
regional representative situation, we're entitled to a copy of the finished contract.
Yep.
Actually, on all of the bargaining units up there.
I believe they did email saying that they would do that, so. They meaning these, school department, so. All right, next item on our, agenda is to vote to sign the warrant for October 3rd, 2016 special town meeting.
Nice.
So would you gentlemen, I'd like to entertain a motion to vote to sign the warrant for October 3rd, 2016 special town meeting.
So moved.
Motion's
Second.
been made, motion has been seconded. Further discussion? Are we comfortable with the articles, gentlemen? I think we've recommended what we have. We have all the numbers in front of us. We understand those ones that are placeholders, those ones that may be subject to change.
And we'll be doing a town meeting preview at the next meeting on the 27th.
27?
Oh, the
27th.
moderator, the
27.
moderator will be here?
Mr.
Yes.
Sean Keeling?
Well, he's been notified.
Yep. All right, motion has been made and seconded to vote and sign the warrant. All those in favor? Aye, 5-0. All right, we're moving right along here, guys. Committee reports. Monpont Pond Committee.
The only thing I can say there is I think Charlie, or the administrator in Halifax, has received a grant. I don't really know the amount of money that they can treat West Monpont Pond with. That's the only
For
thing
the
I have.
bacteria? Treat it
Well,
with
for
the
the
alum?
cyanobacteria, yeah.
Right. And it's treating it with the alum?
Well, I don't know when the treatment's gonna be, whether it can be done now, or, but they've been testing it, and the cyanobacteria is still very high, to the point that Brockton wouldn't be able to take water.
Okay.
And Silver Lake, I think, believe is down to 50 inches below normal
Ooh. I know that
being filled.
even here at Wampatuck, I noticed that we have you can walk down several feet onto where the shoreline was,
Oh, yeah,
you know?
Well,
well,
look at where the
all
lily
ponds
pads
are that way.
Yeah, yeah, it's pretty,
all ponds are drought
It's
like
dried
that.
up.
yeah, there was a young mother with her son fishing. Wow,
No, the water table's gone down all around, not just Hanson, but everywhere.
everywhere. Thank you, Donnie. Next, we have the Indian Head and McQuon Priority Repair Committee.
We're gonna be meeting Thursday night here in the Selectmen's office at 7 o'clock, and we'll be going over the various articles for the special town meeting that involve the repairs to the school zone by the town of Hanson.
Yep.
And we'll also be reviewing the additional work that needs to be done to the McQuon School that the board voted on.
Mm-hmm.
I did talk to the town administrator to ask him to check on how that how that work was advertised originally
In the RFP?
in the RFP, and whether it involved any alternates for roof sections B, C, D, E, and F. I was concerned about that only because it's just my understanding. I don't want anything to come back to bite this board. So that if you went out and bid, and the bid just involved section A, which was the old part of the roof, which was the tar and gravel section, and you solicited bids for that, okay? And you also appropriated a town meeting a sum of like $300 and some odd thousand. And it was the understanding of this board and the understanding of the school committee and the understanding of the priority repair committee that money was going to be used for the section A, which I believe was the understanding of this board. And then you go out and you solicit bids and you get 10 bidders and they're all bidding on roof section A, and the bid comes in at 206 and you've appropriated 323. And then all of a sudden, you're being asked by the school committee for an extra $77,000 for the sections that weren't part of the bid, or part of or any alternates in there. And the bid was awarded on the supposition that it was just for A. Can you really go ahead and spend $77,000 without going out to bid on it? Or having an RFP for other bidders to bid on that work? That was my only concern. And I asked Mr. McHugh to look into that. And I also put a call into Chairman Hayes.
Excellent. Any further questions?
No?
Okay, next report, we have the Highway Building Committee.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, if I could, just before I give that report, I didn't get a chance to speak to we just got a notice from the Department of Agriculture and the other, that is going to have effect by the Army Corps of Engineers. They're allowing cranberry growers to do additional dredging at wells and everything, and they have great concerns how it may impact wetlands. They will allow them to do that type of activity because of the drought situation they have, and the cranberry growers need a huge amount of water for their harvest season. We just got that notice today. I was going to mention that today. I know I'm a little out of order but just so you are aware of it, the level of the ponds is of great concern.
Sure.
And part of it is for the harvest season, but it's also in general thing. And then the next thing I didn't have a chance to tell you in the announcements, I had to change in my schedule. I'm planning to attend the mosquito board conference, Department of Agriculture, I think it is, tomorrow at the One Ashburton Place. So I do plan to attend that. Apologize for not, the timeliness of that.
No, that's okay. Bill, what do they do with the extra water from those, after they drain it?
In regards to what?
When they grow the cranberries?
They put it back
They
from
put it
whatever
back to
source
where-
they got it
okay.
from. I mean, some leaches into the ground, but the
Yeah.
majority of it goes back to whatever source. A lot of the farms have their own retention ponds. Out back here that John Ritter used to own, he built a big pond to have water. They should have enough
Readily
water
available.
to harvest their cranberries if the level of that pond has been maintained. But a lot of the growers that rely on the flow in the rivers and their own water supplies are going to be in dire need of water for that purpose. And whatever they do use, they put back, and then a lot of the growers will work in a sequence. One upstream will draw water, and then as he puts it back, the next grower is able to
Use it.
utilize the water, that water. And it works pretty well in most years, but this is gonna be a tough year.
Tough
for
year,
them.
yeah. Thank you, Bill.
And, yeah, Mr. Chairman, we've had numerous meetings of our Highway Building Committee. Most recent one was last night at the Highway Barn. Weston and Sampson, the architects, were there, and they gave us a real good heads up. We're coming into some area where we've got some pretty good idea on costs in general, but it hasn't been finalized quite as yet. They did suggest to us that they'll be more than willing to work with us. We're gonna set up a little, like a demo table at the upcoming town meeting. I don't know if we have to clear that through the moderator or what.
Usually you do.
But if that's okay with them, that was our plan. We're gonna put up a mural or picture type of what the barns would look like upon completion, some of the interior aspects, the parking lots, et cetera, like that. And then we're gonna print a small brochure, informational, and it'll be for information only. It is not on the warrant for the fall town meeting, as you know. Whether it will be on the warrant, we hope it will be for spring town meeting. The project has been, as I stated before in one of our meetings, kind of put on the back burner for the company that's doing the cleanup down there. There was a delay from the Army Corps of Engineers. They finally have all their approval, and I understand they are working down there on the final cleanup of the property. Their part of the cleanup doesn't affect the land that the town is getting or the buildings, but they can't transfer the property to us until they complete all the work, because they'd have to go through the whole permitting process again if they did that.
Right.
So that's why, so it'll probably be sometime in the early part of next year, if everything goes good on their cleanup, that they would turn the town over to the town.
To the town?
To the town.
Wow. That's actually a good idea. It kind of gives people a heads up, Bill, and keeps them in touch with what's going on.
Yeah.
So,
Sentiment, feeling what they may want to do.
and imagine that when the time comes back at the next town meeting after this one, you'll be sending the same information or more detailed or
Even
whatever
more.
after, right?
Yeah, even more
Yeah,
information,
right.
yeah.
That's great.
And
Thank
hopefully
you.
we'll have a number too, but, you
Right,
know,
yep.
what this
Yep.
is gonna cost.
They've done a tremendous job and a ton of research. Weston and Sampson has had numerous facilities throughout the state that they have built for cities and towns, highway departments, and they've got a great deal of experience, and I think obviously they're bringing that to us to help with our project, if it moves forward.
Well, thank you, Bill, and Kenny for that. I appreciate it. All right,
How about a motion to adjourn?
I'd like to
moved.
entertain a motion to adjourn. It's
So
been
moved.
moved. I need it seconded.
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Young. I was expecting
I
Kenny.
had Kenny, Kenny moved it.
Kenny moved.
Kenny moved it, Don
I seconded
seconded?
it.
All right. Bruce
Okay.
Bruce just reassured him, okay?
I thirded it.
It's been a really good meeting. Thank you, guys. I'm very proud of what you've done. I think that we're taking a direction on Plymouth County Hospital is something that everyone here should be something proud of that we're doing. We're moving forward on it, you know? I want you guys to know that it's been an honor. I'm working with you guys on
Well,
this,
there was
every
no
one of
number two,
you.
Mr. Chairman.
Absolutely, every one of you guys. Nice job.
Mr. Chairman, if I may also note, I really do appreciate and need to recognize all of Mary's efforts in putting this warrant together, invaluable, so I want to
Absolutely.
make sure that that's
Yes,
duly noted.
As always.
Thank you, that wasn't
Put it in the
necessary.
minutes.
That's what- Yeah.
We all know that we really work for Mary. So that's right.
Thank you,
I agree with that.
All right. All right, and with that, I'd like to call to vote to adjourn. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, 5-0. Meeting's adjourned. Have a good night, folks.